Today on the channel we're going to check out this 1963 Bogen Challenger 35 watt audio amplifier that's been converted to a guitar amplifier. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I was messing around with my amplifiers and I got out my 1963 Bogen Challenger amplifier and I thought, you know, this would be kind of fun content to film for the channel. So today we're going to take a look at this. I'm just puttering around my amp room and checking things out. So this right here is a Bogen Challenger 35 watt amplifier. And I bought this thing at Sam Ash Music over a year ago, and I think I paid about $300 for it, something like that. It is a really cool amplifier. I think it's from around 63. I've Googled these amplifiers and it looks just like the 63 Challenger 35 watt amplifier. So, you know, 63 to maybe 69, somewhere in that range. So what Bogen were, they were an audio amplifier company out of New Jersey. And they made really nice audio amps. So this would have been an amplifier that you played your stereo systems through in the 60s, your record players and things like that. And they have really nice tone, and they're very durable. These things have lasted forever. But wait till you get a load what's on the inside of this thing and when you see the back panel. So what people have done, guitar players, now I can't do this, but it was done, and I bought it completely modified. But what guitar players have done, they've noticed that you can convert these to guitar amplifiers. They've got tubes in them and they sound really nice. They sound kind of like a Plexi. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of a description, some close-up views of this amplifier. I'm going to plug it into my attenuator and we're going to do some audio samples of it so I can show you what it sounds like. All right, so let's get some close-up looks and I'll give you some specs on this old girl right here, this Bogen Challenger. It's really cool. Let's check it out. Okay, so here's the front panel. Back in the 60s, the front of this had a Bogen logo that was up here, and I believe it said Challenger on the front. It looked a lot prettier. This looks kind of like a toaster oven now because either the stickers have just come off due to age or someone peeled them off just to make it look even more strange. It kind of looks like Cold War era stuff. Well, anyways, this thing's 35 watts, and when you look at the front panel, we've got, this is a mic 1 input, that's what it's labeled. There's input 2, aux 1 and aux 2 shared the same control, and there was a master, a bass, and a treble knob, right? So when you turn this thing on, there's a light that comes on right underneath here. Now, converted to a guitar amplifier, these two knobs do not work. So what works, we've got this is kind of like a master gain volume, and this is your master volume. So when you crank these up, you can get more distortion. The bass and the treble work just fine, so these are not functional. Okay, so these amps were made in New Jersey. They made audio amps at Bogen. This is a 63 from the best of my knowledge. It has two 78-68 tubes, one 6E47, one 12AX7, and one 6C4. I don't know anything about tubes or audio amps, so all that's Greek to me. I'm going to turn this thing around and show you what the inside looks like. Okay, the back panel is pretty interesting. It looks totally like an old stereo amplifier with your auxiliary inputs and outputs on the back of it. Now, check it out. Someone has written with a Sharpie speaker. So there's our speaker output, and here is our guitar input. So you plug the guitar here, and then the speaker out is there. So evidently they have concocted this a specific way to be a guitar amp. There's a fuse right there. Not sure what this is. Hard to tell. Old technology, man, really old. I would never reach in there. Wonder what I have no idea what that is. Point is, this thing sounds really cool. It may look like a toaster oven, but it's ready to rip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this Bogen Power Soak. Unfortunately, the Power Soak it ruins a little bit of the tone. The power soak kind of makes it smushy, but we'll do our best. I'm going to run this clean. I'm going to run it heavier and heavier so you can see what the distortion sounds like, and we'll go from there. I'm running through Pro Tools, going to run a little bit of delay, a little bit of reverb just to give it some ambience. Let's check it out. For today's demo, I'm going to be mic'd with a condenser mic running through my Marshall 74 cabinet, and I've got Peaches, my beloved #1 R8. Okay, so I've got the amp set up really dry. The EQ, the bass and treble are all the way down, and I've got the volume leveled down significantly, okay? And of course we've got the attenuator running, so we're not going to be going crazy as far as volume in here, so I can talk and this microphone won't get blown out. So with the bridge pickup in this guitar, here's the main tone of the amp. The neck pickup here. If we bring the volume down a little bit. Okay, let me bring the bass up a little bit and the treble up a little bit. Here's what we got. Very warm. Now let's mess around with some of the gain here. I'm going to bring back the bass a little bit because the attenuator causes it to get a little flubby. A little more gain. wide open. Now roll back on the guitar amp, or the guitar itself. This guitar amp would make a great amp to double parts with and to layer guitar parts in the studio or live, to have it as a secondary amp to add that mid-range or that bite. I think it would fit really well in the mix even by itself. Alright, so there you have it, a short and sweet demo of this Bogen Challenger 35 watt amp. It gets pretty dang hot, man. My hands are on top of it, and it does feel like you could probably cook some toast in it. So anyway, this amp is really cool. I think, like I just said in the demo video there, if you were to run this amp in tandem with another amp that maybe had a lot of high gain or was really squishy, this amp would provide a really nice layer because of the way this amp is EQ'd. It's got that Marshall sound, but it doesn't quite have that Marshall sound. It's kind of got that, it's like a Vox and a Marshall kind of combined together. It's definitely got, I think, a British type tone. This is a really, really fun amp. It's a little limiting because there's no effects loop, so if you're going to run it just straight guitar in, there's really not anything you can do without, if you got like a Fryette amplifier underneath it where you could, the Fryette system where you could run an effects loop, you could do that with this, but that'd be kind of overkill. I suppose you could run this kind of clean and run some gain pedals in front of it. It does take gain pedals well. It takes overdrives and distortions perfectly, no questions asked, so you could always run effects that way in front of the amp and put your delays and reverbs behind the gain pedals. But if you want to use the gain structure on this amp, which is really the cool part of this amplifier, you're kind of stuck. It is what it is. But that's what they did, man, in the 60s. And I don't think they really intended this thing to be a guitar amplifier, but whoever discovered that these made good guitar amplifiers by modifying them, it's really cool. It's got a lot of tubes in it, and it's vibey. So check them out. There's some out there. There's project amplifiers out there on eBay. I think I saw one of these in mint condition on eBay right before shooting this video for about $308. That's a working stereo amplifier. So a conversion kit, just a little conversion, you could get it converted over to a guitar amp and you'd have something funky like this. Anyway, if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing, comment below, and as always, have a great day. Peace out.